our longest trusted English newspaper since 1898. Now available digitally. Computer, order the Manila Times Digital Edition. Subscribed. Get the Manila Times Digital Edition for less than 2 pesos and 50 centavos per day when you sign up for 1 year. The Manila Times, news source of choice, trusted since 1898.
Good day, here are the top stories of the Manila Times for April 28, 2022. Marcos solidifies lead. Support for the presidential candidacy of former Senator Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. remains solid as he again led the latest survey conducted by Lilo Research. Based on the survey held from April 14 to 20, Marcos got the vote of 64% of the respondents. The poll showed Marcos gaining 3 percentage points from his March performance of 61%, putting him 43 percentage points ahead of his nearest rival. Trailing Marcos at a very distant second place is Vice President Maria Leonor Leni Robredo, who garnered 21% voter preference. The other presidential contenders got single-digit voter preference from the 3,000 respondents of the survey, particularly Manila Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Domagoso and Senator Emmanuel Manny Pacquiao, who tied for third place with 5% each. They were followed by Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson, who obtained 2% voter preference. Court rules BGC belongs to Taguig. The Supreme Court has ruled that the city government of Taguig is the rightful owner of Fort Bonifacio, which includes the Posh Bonifacio Global City or BGC Financial and Lifestyle District. The High Court denied the petition for review on certiorari filed by Makati City questioning the ruling of the Court of Appeals or CA that junk would finally its bid to acquire territorial jurisdiction over Fort Bonifacio. In a 53-page decision dated December 1, 2021, which was released only recently, the Supreme Court reinstated with modification the verdict of the lower court. The case arose from Taguig's territorial dispute with Makati over the areas comprising the Enlisted Men's Barangay or ENBOS and the entire Fort Bonifacio, headquarters of the Philippine Army. The city government of Taguig argued, among others, that the areas comprising the ENBOS and the Inner Fort and the Fort Bonifacio are within its territory and jurisdiction. Divisoria vendors sue Domagoso for graft. Presidential candidate and Manila Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Domagoso and 5 other city officials are facing graft charges before the Office of the Ombudsman in connection with the sale of Divisoria Public Market. Also named respondents were Vice Mayor Maria Sheila Hani Lacuña Pangan, City Councilor Majority Floor Leader Joel Chua, Councilor Ernesto Isip Jr., Secretary to the Mayor and Chairman of the Asset Appraisal and Disposition Committee Bernardito Ang, and Assistant Secretary to the Mayor Manuel Zarcal. The complaint was filed by the Divisoria Public Market Credit Cooperative, represented by vendors Emmanuel Plaza, Eduardo Fabregas, Rogelio Bangot Jr., Betty De Leon, and Lourdes Estudillo. In a 14-page complaint, the vendors group charged Domagoso and company for a violation of Republic Act or RA 3019 or the Anti-Graft and Corruption Practices Act. Philippines logs first Omicron subvariant case. The Health Department reported on Wednesday the detection of the first case of BA.2.12 Omicron subvariant of COVID-19 in the country. The carrier was a 52-year-old Finnish woman who arrived in the Philippines on April 2 and was not required to undergo quarantine because She was fully vaccinated and asymptomatic. The woman visited a university in Quezon City and later traveled to Baguio City to conduct seminars. She began experiencing mild symptoms 9 days after her arrival, including sore throat and headache. A succeeding reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction or RT-PCR test revealed she was positive for COVID-19. The woman recovered and was later discharged after a 7-day isolation. She returned to Finland on April 21. The Department of Health's or DOH Epidemiology and Surveillance Unit's contact tracing yielded 9 asymptomatic individuals. So far, 2 of them were tested negative for the virus. Quezon City reaches LGU despite pandemic, says Belmonte. Quezon City Mayor Maria Josefina Joy Belmonte attributed her city's success as the country's richest local government unit or LGU with a total asset of 452.333 billion pesos to reform-oriented governance. The mayor, who is seeking re-election on the May national polls, said the city's revenue collection dramatically increased even during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Belmonte said that her first executive order when she became mayor in 2019 was the creation of an internal audit service. Belmonte reported that the city's funds were properly spent based on the programs or agendas submitted by concerned sectors like solo parents, senior citizens, youth, tricycle operators, and drivers through constant consultation with the city government. She said the city's method of governance has improved the quality of life of its residents and boosted its economy. Government trims budget deficit. The government's budget deficit narrowed in March as revenues outpaced spending, the Bureau of the Treasury reported on Wednesday. At 187.7 billion pesos, the shortfall was down 1.97% from 191.4 billion pesos a year earlier. Year to date, it also improved to 316.8 billion pesos, 1.44% lower compared to the 321.5 billion pesos posted in the comparable 2021 period. The March result was due to a 35.96% acceleration in revenue collection alongside an 18.14% increase in government spending, the Treasury said in a statement. Revenues totaled 293.9 billion pesos, up from 216.2 billion pesos a year earlier, while spending increased to 481.5 billion pesos from 407.6 billion pesos. The Bureau of Internal Revenue collected 170.4 billion pesos in March, 27.76% higher year on year, while the Bureau of Customs raked in 70.8 billion pesos for a 29.33% gain. Tax receipts from other offices surged 85.58% to 2.9 billion pesos. Topping sports, Jazz last-second layup gives Memphis 3-2 lead. Ja Morant scored on a layup with a second left, and the Memphis Grizzlies rallied from 11 points down in the fourth quarter to edge the Minnesota Timberwolves 111-109 on Tuesday, Wednesday in Manila, and grab a 3-2 lead in their first round Western Conference Series. Morant, named the NBA's most improved player on Monday, struggled mightily much of the game, but he turned it on in the fourth quarter, scoring 18 points, including 9 of 10 at the free throw line. Morant finished with 30 and had 13 rebounds and 9 assists. Desmond Bain added 25 points, and Brandon Clark had 21 off the bench for the Memphis, and Jaren Jackson Jr. added 12 before fouling out. Karl Anthony Towns led the Timberwolves with 28 points and 12 rebounds. Anthony Edwards had 22, and D'Angelo Russell added 12, and Taurean Prince slowing down for Diaz Albiena. Accomplished athletes as they are in their respective sports, weightlifter Heidelin Diaz, Paul Volter, Ernest John E.J. Albiena, and the Filipinas women's national football team are not about to slow down. Speaking at the summit, #First for Gold virtual press conference, Diaz Albiena and football players Ina Palacios, Tanay Anis, and Holly Long said that they still want to reach greater heights to further cement their legacy in Philippine sports. These athletes are set to compete in the 2022 Vietnam Southeast Asian Games slated from May 12 to 23, and they see the regional competition as a springboard for higher goals. For Olympians Diaz and Albiena, that goal is to qualify for the 2024 Olympics in Paris, while for Palacios, Anis, and Long, the mission is to play well and hopefully win a match in the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. City tops Real in epic semis match. Pep Guardiola said he had to reiterate to his players they had beaten Real Madrid 4-3 in a Champions League Classic on Tuesday, Wednesday in Manila, despite the disappointment of not killing off their semi-final tie at the Etihad. Kevin De Bruyne, Gabriel Jesus, Phil Foden, and Bernardo Silva were on target for Guardiola's men, who held a 2-goal lead 3 times. But Karim Benzema's double and a brilliant individual effort from Vinicius Jr. gave Madrid hope of another famous Champions League fight back at the Santiago Bernabeu on May 4. Opinion and editorial. Renewable energy as key to energy security is the subject of the Times editorial. For its full version, read the opinion section on print, its digital edition, or listen to the voice of the Times. Bien Macabenta and Antonio Contreras are featured columnists on the front page. Macabenta writes about the culture of the confidence and the Filipino future. Contreras on Facebook acting like the truth police. For more news and information, read the Manila Times on print, subscribe to its digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and keep up with the Times. This is Christian Cromaghanoy reporting.